Hello, everyone, and welcome back to MTL Sports Podcast. We are your hosts, Markel, Tevin, and Lawrence. Today, we'll bring you a hot episode. We got NBA award season recap coming up. All right, everyone, time to kick off the NBA awards season. We're going to recap all of our award winners from this past 2022-2023 NBA regular season. Let's start with, Rookie of the Year. We have, of course, Paulo Banchero, pretty much almost unanimous, I think, except for like one guy just didn't vote for him, so he could be the unanimous Rookie of the Year. Guys, how do we feel about Banchero winning the award?
Yes, I'll start. I mean, he's a dog. Like honestly, first pick in the draft, right? I mean, he has expectations to come in and lead a Orlando Magic's team that it's the Magic. You know what I'm saying? It's not the
What do you mean
Dwight
by
Howard
that?
Magic. They just all right. They
Just all right.
they just all right. I mean, what? It's not like they making nobody play in. So I mean, and that's I guess the standard now in the NBA to make the play in or just tank or actually try to win the chip. So he got 20 on the season, 20 points, almost 7 rebounds,
Mhm.
3 7 assists, and he's shooting almost. I can't say almost 50. He's like at the 42 range. Like, he can get better, get more efficient. But I mean, 6'10", 250, already won Rookie of the Year. That's not necessarily like I was talking to y'all off camera. It's not necessarily something that is going to be indicative of a franchise superstar player.
Yeah.
You got, what is his name? Michael Carter Williams won one. Ben Simmons won one.
Ben Simmons, Blake Griffin.
I mean, it's like it's really hit or miss. You got
Brogdon.
Kyrie's.
Even Brogdon won Rookie of the Year.
Right. So, and then you got Kyrie's, you got LeBron's that's won it. KD's was won it. So it really depends. But I mean, he deserved it. I don't really think anybody was necessarily as impactful to, again, a team that is, I'm not even going, now that you said something, Law, I'm going to say that's a bad team. It's a bad team. They got the number one pick for a reason.
Damon, cover your ears. Cover your ears.
So, Damon, if you're watching, yeah.
I'm sorry, bro. So it's just like, look, you got something there. You got a little piece. Let's see what he can do. But he earned it. Shout out to Paulo.
Lawrence?
I mean, yeah, Paulo is the best player in terms of the rookies. I don't know. I remember when we were hanging out one day and you're like, yeah, he's going to win Rookie of the Year. My immediate thought was Keegan Murray. Apparently I was way off on that. I mean, I thought he had a great impact. He made the most.
He did.
He made the most threes amongst his rookie season. If you
beat Clay's record.
Yeah, he beat Clay's record. The Kings were trash last year, and they took a whole 180 to number 3 seed. So, in my opinion, I thought Keegan Murray actually did do a whole entire lot to help his case to try to give a run for the money to Paulo. But I guess they don't take in wins and team turnaround. They just think about, oh, this guy just performed. So I mean, yeah, he does perform because there isn't anyone else on that team. That he has to perform against or take points from. I mean, Keegan Murray's doing an outstanding job on the Kings, and he's going night to night with De'Aaron Fox, Sabonis, Malik Monk. I mean, there's different guys that are actually part of the action and rotation consistently. The Magic, their whole entire identity is Paulo, who's a rookie. So I just thought maybe Murray might give him a run for his money, maybe not make it unanimous, but I was completely wrong.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with all you guys. He's a very good player as far as a rookie. Like Tevin said, averaging 20 points per game as a rookie. That's a really good sign. He's going to be a good player going forward. Yeah. Is he like a franchise player, a cornerstone type player? I mean, that's yet to be found out. But I feel like for his first season, he did really well. Comparing to last year's pretty much like consensus pick as number 1 was going to be Chet, right? And then even up until the draft, Jabari Smith was like, fluctuating between 1 and 2, him and Chet.
And he was
So
my favorite going into it, to be honest with you, Jabari.
yeah, so to see Paulo go, basically go from 3 to the number 1 pick with the Magic, and kind of, have like an instant success at, in Orlando is really huge. So shout out to him. The Magic do have a good player going forward. Let's just hope that they can manage him the right way, because they've kind of, been hit or miss with some of their draft picks in the recent years. So
And you know what I said about these rookies. Like, I just don't know which rookie's gonna come in and have like the same kind of following that LeBron had, and even Zion to that point. Even though it hasn't necessarily worked out, like Zion was supposed to be next, and it's like who's supposed to come in and already have that kind of pressure and be next and
yeah,
prove it. So I don't know. I don't know when these guys retire, like the KDs, the LeBrons, the Chris Pauls, like who's going to be next. So that's my question.
hey, that's
You
a
told
great
me.
question.
You told me. You told me. You
Hey,
told
I
me it's
mean,
coming.
people are in the Wimby sweepstakes for a reason. All right.
It's true. It's true.
All right, moving along. Let's start up next with sixth man of the year. So sixth man of the year this year was won by Malcolm Brogdon, Celtics guard. Came over from the Pacers. They traded for him last offseason. So Lawrence, I'm gonna start with you. How do we feel about Brogdon winning the award?
I think it was justified. He came off the bench and scored a lot of points, game in and game out. Uh, they were the second seed for a reason. I mean, there's only a few guys you can even counter saying that, oh, maybe he should have won six man. I think a lot of the things I'm going to say are going to go back to the Kings. But like, there's a
Yeah,
reason why the Kings went from nothing to something. I mean, Malik Monk came off the bench and scored prolifically, had one of the best plus minuses, consistently did well every other night, fit into the rotation really well. Some nights he started, most nights he came off the bench. But I thought Brogdon was going to win it. I don't have a problem with Brogdon winning it. I just thought maybe the only other person in contention outside of Brogdon would be like a Bobby Portis or a
yeah,
Malik Monk.
I can see that. Tevin?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree with you, Law. Like, I mean, for him to technically, he didn't necessarily, from what I'm seeing, necessarily log a start and playing 67 games, 26 minutes, and still giving me like 14, giving me some rebounds, and still really what he's there for is shooting and playing some D. And that's what he did. Like the team, the Celtics trading for him and inserting him into the lineup has not, brought that team down for where they just were. Of anything, he's helped. So for me, exactly what he was brought in to do, he's fit his role, and he's fit his role on a team that's in high contention and could be a potential champion coming up here. So I don't got no problems with Brogdon. He's decorated actually in his own right, all rookie team, rookie of the year formerly, and now
Yeah.
he's got his sixth man. So I mean, he's been a good piece. Still, he's at that tender age of 30. So it's like, yeah, this is a good spot for him. He's in a good rotation. He's still giving me minutes. He's still giving me good buckets. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think that was the right pick.
Yeah, I agree. I think your two other candidates, like Bobby Portis, even Norman Powell, they did have a right to be in the conversation.
Mhm.
But I mean, for the most part, Brogdon was, I mean, he was just balling this season. Came into the Celtics, knowing that he was going to be the sixth man, because he had started previously with, at Milwaukee with Giannis, their starting point guard for a while. And then when he was on the Pacers, he was, in that starting backcourt with him and Halliburton. So,
Mhm.
going from, being a starting caliber point guard to being, basically asked to, hey, come off the bench after, 5 or 6 minutes in the first quarter. We still gonna give you your minutes, but you're just not going to be in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
And for a lot of people, that really hurts their pride, because, they're wired to, hey, I'm a starter. That's all I ever want to do, right?
Mhm.
Kind of seen it with Westbrook this past season, how he kind of, reluctantly, to Coach Ham's credit, reluctantly came off the bench for D Ham, and he kind of embraced the role, but you could see how it wasn't really the most
Effective.
effective. Yeah, so it was effective for Celtics. So shout out to Brogdon. really balled out this year. Tevin already pointed out the stats. Still put up numbers and off the bench, and yeah, phenomenal year for him.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving along, we got Defensive Player of the Year. We got Triple J, Jaren Jackson Jr. of the Memphis Grizzlies. Lawrence, let's go back to you. How do we feel about Jaren Jackson Jr. winning? Because he's a young player, and I think he's like in his fourth or fifth year. Like that's pretty amazing for a young guy to win Defensive Player of the Year so young.
I mean, I guess one thing I did poop on another day. No, I'll stick by it. I don't think he goes after rebounds hard enough.
No.
I think something that maybe should be, I don't know if they do take into account or anything, but rebounds should be taken into account a little stronger.
Oh, they do. They do.
Obviously not, because he was horrible at rebounding. But either way, his rebounding stats as a bigger man were not very good at all. It showed in the playoffs without Steven Adams there to cover him. He couldn't. He wasn't. He just wasn't reliable in rebounding because he's trying to go for that kill shot, the block. But okay, 3 blocks a game is cool and all, but when you want to get me 5 rebounds, that's not cool. Because I'd rather have 12 rebounds and 1 block than 3 blocks and 5 rebounds. Because I need the ball back. I need the ball back. And I just think that, yes, I think he's deserving of, but I also look at I wouldn't say across the room, but across the league at Brook Lopez, I think maybe he's already won it, and maybe they're trying to spread out the wealth, and Brook Lopez is at the end of his career, and, Triple J's at the, I guess, pinnacle, or not pinnacle, but sorry, the peak of his career right now. Like, he's at the prime. Sorry,
he's getting into his prime.
Yeah. There you go. I mean, I get it, but I think in terms of doing everything that you kind of want a guy to get you, I think Brook Lopez did a little bit more. Because Triple J, you didn't give me enough rebounds. I mean, to be honest, sorry, you didn't. You ranked 45th in rebounds in the season. That's not really good. I mean,
yeah,
he got shy of 7. He had 6'8". So kind of what you.
No, I think that I understood that rebounds are brought into account when you're talking about defensive man, but I don't think it was. To be honest with you, there were some other guys who played defense a lot better and got way more rebounds and got the ball back in terms of a defensive mindset. I want to get the ball back for my offense a little better, but no one was effective as he was in steals and blocks. Is that kind of the big?
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you on the rebounds. Yeah, 6'8" is a little low for me too. Especially again, we go back to y'all 6'11", dang near 7 foot dudes. Come on, bro. You got to come on, bro. Would you say he ranked 40 something?
He was 45th.
Come on, bro.
I remember that game. He got out rebounded by. I mean, it's not shaming you, but he got out rebounded by LeBron, but he also got out rebounded by Dylan Brooks. And they just we'll talk about it later, but they told Dylan Brooks, you ain't coming back. But Dylan Brooks was getting more rebounds than you were, so let's be realistic here.
Right.
Yeah.
And AD is still. This is why I guess AD is still a generational talent, because you got dudes who are his height, his size, and they cannot average a double-double. Is basically what we're saying, and that is a problem for me. If we had Shaq and who's the man, David Robinson,
the Admiral,
in the league right now, they would be able to get 30 rebounds a night, no questions asked. You know what I'm saying? Especially as many shots as people are putting up, and you got John on your team, and he hikes up a lot of shots. But that said, I mean, he does alter the game in a different way with the 2-time block champ. That's saying something, and he's able to get steals. That is saying something. You're altering the game still. At the end goal, right, is you are still defensively affecting shots, protecting the rim, helping on defense, and becoming a presence in the middle. So I gotta give it to you on that respect. And there's not that many. I mean, it's not really a defensive league. It's just like the NFL. We're not here to play defense. We're here to watch you play defense. But we're here to watch basketball offensively. We're here to see everybody score, somebody get 50, Another person gets 60. Like, that's not what we're here for. We're not here to watch the Jaren Jackson Juniors. We're not here to watch Embiid. Like, we're not here for those guys. So unfortunately, this is where we're at. And like I talked to you, like I was saying about y'all, these rookies, like I was telling y'all, like I don't know the stars. So who's gonna take it from him and like be like, all right, well, we can't give it to Embiid if we're thinking about him being, MVP. We can't give it to Giannis. So who we gonna give it to? And it's always coming up to like who we gonna give it to.
Yeah.
So you gotta give it to the young fella. He has 63 games in the new CBA. He ain't gonna make that. He ain't gonna be eligible. So
Nope.
I mean, he gonna have to get 2 more games under his boat. But all in all, I mean, to have three blocks, 2-time block champ, to make his first All Star, to be an impact on defense, especially in the Western Conference, that's primarily about scoring. Like the West is about that scoring. You think he's pretty much an Eastern Conference player the way he is affecting the game defensively. So he get his rebounds up, he would be clear cut, no questions about it. But you know, he won the award off a little bit of a GP. He is doing enough on the defensive end to win it. So I'm not necessarily mad at it, but he do got to get them rebounds up.
Yeah, I agree with you. He should definitely be, as tall as he is, he should be a double-digit guy in rebounds. But like you kind of referred to earlier, he's a 2-time block champion. I kind of wanted him to win the award last year because I felt like he had a pretty good defensive season last year. So I'm glad that Triple J got his award this year. He can guard 1 through 5, chasing blocks, getting in steals too. Brook Lopez deserves a lot of credit too. At his age, playing defense under Coach Bud, really locking in the defensive side. Yeah, formerly. And we'll get into that later. But shout out to Brook Lopez. He had a really good defensive season as well.
Yeah. He'll take the ring. Let's be honest. He's gonna take the ring.
All right. Well, let's move on. Let's get into our. Let's see here. Let's do most improved. All right. So our most improved player, he's actually serving his country right now. I am talking about the one, the only Lauri Markkanen, the Utah Jazz. He won this year's most improved player. Let's start off with Tevin. How do we feel about Lauri winning over some other players like some people had SGA, some people might have had other players. How do you feel about that?
So he's kind of at this point already in his career. I'm seeing here he's already bounced around. This is his 5th season. This is his 3rd team.
Yeah,
and he was on a Utah team that sold everybody. They talk about in the running for what's the man's name? What's the
Wemby?
Wemby.
The Wemby
They were
sweepstakes.
supposed to be in the sweepstakes. Like nobody even was supposed to even be close. And they done messed around. They messed around and made the play. Like you idiots. Did they make the playoffs?
They were just out the play.
Yeah, they just out, but they did make the play in. So like they messed around, almost fumbled the bag, dummy. And it's because of a young man like Markkanen. So he gave me buckets. He gave me 25. Dang, near almost gave me like 30. That's buckets. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And rebounds. Dang, he almost averaged the same as Jared Jackson Jr. Yikes. He actually he had more. He had 8-6. So he giving me buckets. He's playing 66 games, 25 points. Dang, all-star. You can't really say much. That's a lot because it's his 3rd team and he's 2025 and he actually proved that he was worth, being in this league, being a draft pick. What was he drafted?
He was drafted in Chicago. He was a lottery pick. I think he was like 13 or something.
No, they're saying he's 7th overall. He was drafted.
He was that high. Wow.
Yeah, like that. That's high. So it's good. I'm glad it's working out for young fella. And he gave buckets. So yeah, you gotta give it to him. I'm not mad at Markkanen. Shout out Markkanen.
Lawrence.
Oh, I didn't have a problem with Markkanen winning. I didn't understand the whole SGA and the running for most improved player because last year he was really good. I get it. He improved a little bit, but like
he improved a lot bit.
No, dude, he was really good last year, and he was really good this year.
Yeah.
Okay, he improved really a little bit, but like most improved, we're looking for someone who played pretty bad last year and did really good this year. You can't go from being pretty good last year to pretty great this year. Like you didn't move up that much. Like, okay, you moved up that little bit. We're looking for someone who was here and went to here. That's what we're looking for most
Tell
improved.
that to Jaw.
Well, I think it's how this league is now. It's all about narrative. So I think marketing's narrative, like I just spelled it out. Third team, high overall pick, lottery pick, hasn't really panned out. Boom, he explodes on a team that he wasn't even supposed to explode on a team that shouldn't even be nowhere close to a play in.
Yeah.
So that narrative and Shea Gilders, I kind of feel you, Law. Like I feel like he's been a dog. I don't even know if people not paying attention. He's been a dog.
Yeah, he's been a dog.
So I mean,
I was betting on him last year. Okay, I was betting on him. I was betting on him to get 30 plus points almost every other night, and he was getting 30 plus points, and they had his point plus at a 25 plus points. I was like, 25 plus points, steal. I'm gonna put 30, and he was hitting it last year, and then he just consistently hit it this year. So,
yeah, I mean, I'm not mad at marketing winning. I see what you guys are coming from. He definitely deserved it going from the Cavs, where he was kind of playing out of position because he was like a big three.
Yeah.
At the Cavs, like they're playing him the three because they didn't really have a wing player to go there. So he was playing out of position, and then Chicago basically just gave up on him. So that's how he ended up in Cleveland anyway. So he did really well going to the Jazz. No one really expected them to be remotely close to the play-in, and even though they were just like a little bit short of making the play-in, did pretty well for the whole season. I kind of wanted SGA to win because, I mean, last year he averaged 24 and a half. This year he averages over 30. No one had the Thunder even remotely close to the play-in, and look at them. They made the play-in.
And they got their, what's the boy's name? Their overall pick, their lottery pick.
Chet got hurt, so they were
selling. They were supposed to be selling.
They were supposed to be really selling. Like, I mean, we all knew the Jazz had pieces, and we thought, hey, like, maybe they'll be good, but they won't be like, playing good. But
you a lie, bro.
Yeah, you're a liar, bro.
They had.
Bro. They were talking the whole season how they were going to sell Jordan Clarkson the whole season, and then they just didn't. I drafted him in fantasy basketball just because I thought they were going to trade him.
Yeah, but I mean, all the haul that they got from the trade, from both trades, they had a lot of pieces. So I'm not saying that they were ever going to be playing. Like I said, they had good pieces. They could have pulled. I mean, I wasn't surprised that they pulled off what they pulled off. But I mean, looking at the Thunder, looking at their roster, I mean, with just Josh Giddey and SGA basically, and Dort playing, here and there.
Yeah, I didn't really think on Dort right now, dog.
I didn't think they were going to make. Dort? I didn't think they were going to make the play-in. So shout out to.
You didn't like the Williams brothers, bro? What are you talking about here?
I mean, they were rookies. They're not
brothers, but they're the Williams boys. Sorry.
They went higher than Chet, so I wasn't really paying attention to them. I just saw, hey, SGA, you got Josh Giddey. I know Gort can 3-and-D. Yeah, they're probably going to be bottom team, but they surprised me.
That's fair.
They had Baisley half the season. They traded Baisley, but they had Baisley half the season. He's on a bum.
And then they had that Isaiah kid. He came out of nowhere, started hitting threes. So I think SGA just made his team better. So, I mean, I would have given it to him, but I'm not mad that Laurie
that's a fair argument.
Put off the W there. So shout out to Laurie. Shout out to him, serving. I think he's Swedish, so serving the Swedish army.
Finland.
Finland. Yeah. Shout out to Finland.
I guess I was just a year ahead on SGA betting on him, so I guess I didn't see the.
I mean, he was good, right? But did I see 30 plus a game good? I did not.
That's buckets.
And he cut down on his 3-point shooting. So if he was scoring 30 plus and had the same attempts from three, I would have been like, okay, he just upped his usage rate. But no, he cut back on threes, did more drives, did more dishing out. He just played really well. Cool. Let's move on, fellas. Let's move on to coaches. So let's move on to the front office. Coach of the year. No surprise here, Mike Brown. Boys, how do we feel about Brown? I mean, Brown's been around for a while. Coached LeBron's Cavs. I'm pretty sure he coached a few years for the Lakers, right? When Kobe was playing. And then
he did.
And then after that, no.
Brown's been around.
I mean, hey, for rhymes or rhymes, I might need to start spitting, right?
Right. Get these bars real quick.
Get these bars in. But yeah, so he coached Kobe for a little bit. Then joined Steve Kerr's coaching staff for the past couple of years, and then give an opportunity to coach the Kings, and look how they turned out, right? So
Mhm.
let's go with Lawrence. How do you feel about Coach Brown and his success with the Kings?
I mean, I think he was the clear shut favorite for Coach of the Year. I didn't think any other coach. I want to say they made such a remarkable turnaround. So that's why I was so high on the Kings this whole time we were talking earlier. No other coach did something so remarkable. I mean, the Kings
Yeah,
were, what was it? I remember hearing the betting line earlier. I think it was like plus 1,300 or something to win the Pacific Division, and they did it. So the fact that he can go on and do that is just certified Coach of the Year, in my opinion. You can be such low odds, and you can turn around and do that. Hmm.
Isn't that sports? I mean, I'm with you. Third in the West, 48-34 record. Took the Warriors, took the champs to a game 7. Make Curry have to drop 50 just to get him out of here. On the team, like nobody's been expecting the Kings to do zilch zada. I mean, it was just a matter of time. We was waiting for like Fox to want to come out of there. Remember when they had Cousins? We was waiting for him to leave. Like we just always just waiting. It's like one of those stopgap teams. Like, oh, you there? Oh, that's cute. Well, when you ready to come to the rest of the NBA, like an actual team, then you can holler at us. And they completely rewrote that. So I like Coach Brown. He's been through the thick of it. He's got his medal, got his championships. Now he's got his team. And let's see if he can keep adding to that. Keep bringing that identity of not really a Warriors identity, but like his own kind of thing. And really just impression himself on this team, on this young roster, and building it up to do something. And shout out that 2 black coaches have won this award back to back. Monty Williams won it last year, so yeah, I'm with it. Coach Brown is on the up and coming with his team, and let's see what he can do. Now next year, people gonna be gunning for you, so that's really the test.
yeah, I agree. Coach Brown, Mike Brown definitely deserved it. We all know he's a good coach, right? He coached
Yeah,
LeBron, coached Kobe, so he's coached superstars with
Kobe Bryant.
some good success. Then of course, coach under Steve Kerr for the past couple of seasons. Coaching that dynasty, so he definitely picked up a lot of you know good coaching strategies and whatnot from Kerr, and you can clearly see it's paying off with the Kings. So I mean, I had nothing more to add. Coach Brown is good. Let's just hope that the front office will continue to support him, and hopefully this team will keep improving with the young guys and keep bringing in some vets to keep them contending in years to come.
Especially that's a good point, especially because they don't have, in my opinion, they don't have a superstar. De'Aaron Fox is a star, but I don't think, and Sabonis is a star, but they're not superstars. So
Yeah,
if they can eventually, like, either them two can get to that superstar status, or if they can allure somebody to come and just be that last piece, I think that'll be really the test for them. Like I said, like being the hunted now is a completely different place, especially when you the Sacramento Kings. Everybody gonna say, "Oh, this was an outlier. They for real a joke. We about to come and like really show them they a joke." So, yeah,
yeah, 100% agree. And speaking of front office, it just so happened that their general manager, let me get the name right. Where is he? Where is he? He actually was executive of the year.
wow.
I gotta find his name. Where is his name? Kings GM McNair. Uh, Monty McNair won executive year.
Okay.
We all know that the Kings were really bad last season. No one projected them to have the success that they had. So let's start with Tevin. How do you feel like the moves that McNair made over the past last off season helped them to get to where they are today?
I mean, honestly, hiring the coach of the year, that pretty much speaks for itself. And I mean, keep adding to this team. Did they bring in, they brought Sabonis in this offseason, right?
Last trade deadline.
So I mean, you had the foresight to bring in a dude who was sitting on a team that it wasn't going that the way they wanted it to go with the Pacers. So you
Yeah.
brought in a star, added him to a team that you knew you needed. You got rid of some dead weight. You brought in, even though it was grimy how they did it when they got remember the dude that they traded in, like he got traded in game before he suited up. It was at Harrison Barnes.
No,
Was
they've
it
had Harrison Barnes.
was it this
Somebody
season?
it was like 2-3 seasons ago, and LeBron was pissed, and the players was like, "Oh, this is how y'all doing us." but I forgot what his name is. But look up like dude got traded in game. Like he suited up and he got traded to the Kings in game, and he was just sitting there like the. But yeah, they just the moves that the Kings have made as a front office though to keep the team together. Like I said, of like the star, keeping Fox happy enough to not want to be like, all right, I'm ready to leave, bringing in Sabonis, keeping their pieces, and just like especially with the draft, like being very patient. To all right, we're going to sit, we're going to draft, we're going to sit, we're going to draft, we want to get good players and we want to develop them. That I can't knock that, especially when it's not a household team. I can't knock that. And pretty much if you win coach of the year, you're 9 times out of 10 somebody your executive is going to win executive of the year. That's pretty much how it's gone. So like I said, I ain't mad at it. Shout out the Kings, bro.
Shout out the Kings, Lawrence.
Barnes was traded for the Kings forwards Zach Randolph and Justin Jackson mid-game. That was the Mavericks.
That was
that traded.
Like, bro, it was disgusting. It was funny.
The Mavericks traded him.
That was disgusting. I was like, bro, that's ruthless.
I don't know any other exec that did any. I mean, we talked about it. Did any other moves besides, in my opinion, the whole offseason, like the Cavaliers turn that franchise around.
Yeah.
But even then, like I just double down on the Kings. Like he drafted Keegan Murray, good pickup. Got Malik Monk, good pickup.
Yeah.
He added little small pieces and got rid of the dead weight, like you said. He did everything in order to make his team better. He had other pieces there, and then he figured out to work with Mike Brown to utilize the pieces that were already there. Like Davion Mitchell's already there. He's on a bum. He'll go out there and he'll go against your best scorer, and he'll play his best defense. And
he's a good defensive player.
Yeah, he's not going to out there and wow you with points, but he'll go out there and play his hardest. And I don't. The worst guy you're starting on your starting line, not starting lineup, your bench is Alex Lynn. I'm not bad.
Right.
He's okay.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I think he's well deserved, right? McNair, he had a pretty good offseason as far as the Kings, right? Get Coach Brown in there. You draft Keegan Murray, who turned out to be really good 3-point shooter. You bring in Malik Monk from the Lakers, who had a good season last year. You bring in Kevin Huerter, who's a good 3-point shooter as well. So you see him kind of building that Warriors foundation, right? Try to get shooters. Let's get some defensive guys in. We got our point guard. We got our big man. So you already see like the work paying off. So let's just hope that he can keep it going forward. Some other candidates, like Lawrence said, Kobe Altman from the Cavs had a really good season as an exec. Two names that I'm hearing a lot and I agree with. Definitely Rob Pelinka. I feel like he had a really good year as exec. Yeah. Kind of started off rocky with the Russ
flipped it. Yeah.
With the whole Russ acquisition a season ago, but definitely flipped that team around. Trading for Rui, then trading for D'Lo and Vando and who else they got? Malik Beasley. So he put off some major moves, and then you can look at Brad Stevens, right? The whole, going from the Ime Udoka situation, having to relieve him of his duties, and then, you give your trust to Missoula, who turned out to be a fantastic coach, right? Yeah. And then you go out and you get Brogdon. You go out and then you trade for Mike Muscala to kind of bolster your front court. So shout out to him. I feel like they both of those guys right there deserve some consideration as well.
Yeah, good points.
Moving along, we got 2 more awards to get to tonight. Let's start with our Clutch Player of the Year. The first time this award has been given out. It's been given out to a player we've been mentioning all night, De'Aaron Fox. How do you guys feel about this new award, number one, and how do you feel about Fox winning?
Go ahead, Law.
So in my opinion, when we talk about Clutch Player of the Year, we're talking about it's the new version of Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah,
it has to be, right? Yeah. Okay,
basically.
I'm not mad at it. The only other person you can say was better offensively was SGA. I mean, you're not going to put Giannis, you're not going to put Embiid, and you're not going to put Jokic in there because they're running for MVP. So you're not really going to put them in clutch. So then we got to figure out who can do it. And I don't know, De'Aaron Fox was one of the best, late game performers the whole season. So
Yeah,
no, there's nothing wrong with it. It's just kind of like when they came out with clutch player, it kind of just made people. I don't know if me people. I'll just say myself. It made myself go, what are we talking about here? Like I don't understand. You might as well just call it offensive player or something like that. But I get it, clutch. But there wasn't many other clutch players this year in clutch time like De'Aaron Fox.
agreed. Tevin,
Yeah, I mean, I'm not a fan of this like clutch player award. I mean,
really?
okay.
What
I mean, I'm not
what is
because
it?
it's like yeah, it's like what is this? All right, fine. I mean, cool. Like I would rather you again, like if you want to honor like Kobe or something or MJ, like if y'all really say y'all really honor somebody, make it a Kobe Bryant award or something. Because if he's antithesis of clutch, everybody said Kobe when they make the shot, so something like that. If you're gonna call it clutch player of the year, I mean, it kind of I would assume that players would very be like, okay, you want clutch player of the year. So what am I
Yeah.
supposed to do with that? Like, and then what happens if you miss a clutch shot? Come on now. So it's weird. But I'm not gonna hate on Fox. Like he's been getting buckets. Like we talked about Shea Gildress Alexander. He's been doing his thing too. So I mean, Fox, nobody again was really. I feel like it's kind of like in a way they're trying to make it like a pseudo, not MVP, but like something under that, like you said, offensive player, just like a really good player, like a standout player for a team that it wasn't expected the Kings to really do this. So I'm not mad at Fox winning it. Shout out
Mm.
to him. Let's see if you can continue on being clutch.
Yeah, I agree. I'm kind of with you. That's the same sentiment, right? Like, what is this award really for? Like, I understand them
Is this
needing
your
it.
king?
I understand them needing another award, right? But I feel like the way they went about it, and I mean, it's no knock to them. This is the first time, making a new award up.
Yeah,
So I can foresee in the future them maybe renaming it or kind of recategorizing it, because it's making it seem like these players are like second tier when in reality,
right.
like De'Aaron Fox is a really good player, probably borderline All NBA player this upcoming season. So um,
I'd be shocked if he don't make if at least second team.
yeah,
All
so
right.
it's kind of insinuating the award's like a knock, but it's really not
It's
in
not.
all reality. So shout out to him. He's been playing, phenomenally all season. Took the Warriors, like you said earlier, to a game 7. Took
Mhm.
Stephanie to score 50 to overcome them. So well deserved. And the other two finalists, DeMar DeRozan and Jimmy Butler, they had their moments, in the regular season, but I don't think they come close to
Nah,
D
they don't come
Fox.
close. If that's
They
the
don't
if
come.
that's the competition, you got that.
Yeah, for sure. In our last award of the night, we will have Joel Embiid as the NBA MVP for this season. Now, fellas, we have
It's the
the whole
process.
discourse this whole season has been, will Jokic win 3 in a row? And, there's a lot of kind of, not really politics, but, people were talking about, is it racial bias or prejudice or this and that? And you know, I don't know if you guys want to get into that, but how do we feel about the whole like narratives around MVP this season and how that kind of affected the MVP race this year?
It's hard to do it with Embiid because um if you say Jokic like did more with less, Embiid has had a dude like Ben Simmons who will not shoot, and you know what I mean. So it's
Yeah,
like you got Embiid. He's been doing everything, and when he gets hurt, they cannot do anything. They cannot do a thing. For Joker, he
And
has been holding it down for Denver. Um, eh, he's been doing
mm,
things that we really haven't seen a big be able to do offensively. My
no,
problem is that it has to be something. I mean, I don't know. Yeah, you can maybe say it a race, but it's like at some point because it's like Luca and Joker. They try to make them so much better, but then they overlook the deficiencies of their game. Neither of them want to play as much defense or play defense at all, really.
yeah,
So, and then if we're going to do that, then we have to basically get rid of defense for all these dudes, and we can't do that because that's literally part of the game. It's not football where if you're a quarterback, you just throw the ball, you can throw for 400 yards, and we could say, okay, he's him. on in basketball, you got to play both ends of the court, and being a big, like you have to be more of a factor than most. Because like we're saying, like you cannot hide. You're almost 7 foot. Where you finna go that we can't see? So like the impact that Embiid's had on his team, he's held it down. He's been part of the process the whole time, and he's not worked with much himself. You got Tobias Harris, who sometimes he'll be one of the better players in the league, like at least a top 20 player. And other times he's a bottom 50 player. So, and then you got Ben Simmons, who you had to literally get off the team because he just doesn't want to play basketball anymore.
Yeah.
So, I mean, what is Embiid working with that? And then you waiting for Maxi to come into his own. Thank God he has. I mean,
Yeah.
he's not been working with a whole bunch to be like, yeah, Embiid is disqualified and he can't be him. And like any second that he misses a game or he gets hurt, it's like, well, see, this is why you can't give Embiid the award. He stayed relatively healthy enough this season to win the award. I know, and then the narrative has been, like I said, it's always been switched on him. So if it's not raised, then it's, oh well, such and such missed the games, or he's working with, I don't know who you're gonna drum up to say who's like on the level of Jamal Murray or even Michael Porter, maybe Maxi. Harden's up in age, so like, who are you really saying? And then, like I said, Tobias Harris. So you don't know any given night what he's going to give you. So I think Embiid deserved it. I thought he probably should have got it. Maybe even last year. If you wanted to give it to him this year, that's fine. It's pretty much to me like a makeup for whatever year you want to pick that he pretty much could have won it. He's got his team in the playoffs, in the second round, in semis. Uh so I mean, I'm not mad at it. I'm really not. I think Embiid deserved it. Jokic, I wouldn't be mad at it, but I don't know if he's like, to me, I don't know if he's 3-time MVP as well. I think that would have been a little bit of cap. Like 3-time in a row MVP. That's a bit much, bro. I would have rather you give it to Luka then. Like if you really going
Ah,
if you're
no.
going to try to be like, oh, we need our new Larry Bird, then just do it. But don't give
Mm-mm.
people 3-time MVPs and act like that's not part of like history. That's the whole makeup of the league. Like if you don't win a chip, that's it. That's the award guys are going for. And you just handing it out like it's a piece of candy is not cute. It's not cool. And to like minimize it in 1 minute and then overrate it the next is not cool. So I'm glad I'm glad Embiid finally got his. I don't know if they got it right, but I'll say he got his, and that's what it is.
Lawrence.
Oh, I think Embiid should have won it one of the other 2 years.
Yeah.
I think it's justified that he wins it this year. I didn't understand really Giannis being in the race other than the fact that they were the number one seed in the East and
Yeah.
the best, I guess the best record team. No, I didn't really understand it. And then when you heard the voting, it was like, was it 15 and 12? 15 Jokic, 12 Giannis, the rest Embiid. I didn't understand Giannis getting so many votes.
Yeah, it's
Didn't
a
make
lot of
sense to
votes.
me. I think it literally should have just been down to Jokic and Embiid. Give it to Embiid. I think the white guy won. When you bring up the race card, I think it was really only one guy that really had a problem with that, and that was Perkins. And even Charles Barkley's going to call you out and call you an idiot. So if Charles Barkley's calling you an idiot, you should shut up.
Time to go back to the board.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree. Joel definitely deserved it this year. As far as the other 2 years, I feel like Jokic really. I mean, I feel like he should have won the past 2 years. Maybe the first year I would have given it to Steph, but just because Steph was in the play-in, I guess you can't give an MVP to a guy who's in the play-in. But
Yeah.
Steph 2 years ago had a better year than his two MVP seasons.
Yeah.
So I
And
would have.
then it wasn't Clay out and all that.
Yeah, it was just
Yeah.
by himself, and
Yeah.
Draymond was hurt too, and he still
He
like
was in and out.
dragged him to the play-in. So I would have, 2 years ago, would have given it to Steph, but that's neither here nor there. But I think, yeah, he definitely deserved it. Without Joel, the Sixers have pretty much been flat. I mean, you can see it kind of, in the regular season, and even last night when Joel was kind of hobbled and limited. The Sixers just played really flat and they got blown out.
Yeah.
So he definitely deserved his first MVP. Plays both sides of the ball. his team. He makes them better. And you can see in their record, they continuously been like a top 3 team every single season. Jokic, even though he doesn't have another, MVP like Joel does with Harden, he doesn't have another All Star like Harden or even Tobias used to be an All Star. Jokic definitely put up some good numbers as well, and I'm kind of with you, Lawrence. I don't really, even though Giannis had a phenomenal season, I feel like for me he missed too many games to be in MVP race, and I feel
Yes.
like the Bucks regular season wise, they still played well without him. So I wouldn't have put Giannis in there, but I guess they just needed to throw a guy in there because
Yeah,
for whatever reason they don't
regardless,
want
it's
to.
always a 3-team race because it's drama.
Yeah, for whatever reason they don't want to throw in Jason Tatum or any of these young guys coming up. Like, I mean, I feel like even Anthony Davis should have some consideration, right? Or what other young guy like
You couldn't give it the jaw.
yeah, can't get you flashing guns on IG. You ain't getting no MVP.
You're not even smart enough to say out of the way, big fella.
Yeah, nah, David Stern will come out of his grave and
Yeah,
yank that.
be like, hey, yo, you know we can't give you that, right?
Yes. So, I mean, there's probably some more deserving people to be in that third spot, but I'm not mad at it. As far as the race card, I mean, Kendrick Perkins kind of started it, like Lawrence said, like just saying a bunch of dumb stuff and hoping it would stick to the wall. And I feel like on Twitter and social media, it kind of stuck. But as far as like you could see other analysts and sports writers across the country are just like, no, like we're not giving out MVP awards milly nilly, right? Like you actually have to deserve it and have to perform at the level to actually be deserving of the MVP. So we're not just gonna let race be a factor into winning. I feel like that was just the dumbest take all year, and I feel like it really like was almost divisive in a way, So I just wish that wasn't a part of the conversation, and
Yeah,
it kind of ruined the whole MVP race for me at least.
yeah, everybody got soured on it. I would say he probably wrong sport because like I'd say it happens more in football than it does in the NBA. Like you can see clearly who's the better player. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying in the NBA for the most part, especially when it's like two guys like this who are both bigs. You can see okay, well one plays offense maybe just as well or if not better than the other guy, but this guy plays defense. Oh well, this guy plays on the perimeter. Well, oh, this guy plays on the perimeter too. This guy passes. This guy does this. This guy does that. We can dissect their game more than we can say, oh, well, a quarterback is more important and the most valuable player to the league than, let's say, a defensive tackle, a running back, stuff like that. So yeah. I mean, and it coming from Kendrick Perkins, I mean, he said a lot of stuff. KD had to tell him you didn't score a point, big boy. So what you talking about?
yeah,
So like, I don't
big.
know why we was listening to KP. You always need
Ah, man.
clickbait, bro. Always need clickbait.
That's big perk for you, unfortunately.
Big
All
perk.
right, fellas. Nice discussion right there.
All
Coming
that good
up
stuff.
next, though, all right, welcome back, guys. We are going to hop into our rapid fire here. First up on the to-do list, Mr. Dylan Brooks. He was reportedly told by the Memphis Grizzlies front office that he will not be returning to the team under any circumstances, even for free. All right. So, fellas, how do we feel about this story breaking by Shams that reportedly, he ain't coming back?
Yikes.
Scummy. I mean, okay, I'll start. I'll start.
Go ahead.
I think it's scummy on the fact of the scummy on the fact of the Grizzlies, because like you're saying that about your guy, that just puts his capital of everything he can get money on this offseason. Man,
Yeah.
you just torched him, man. Like he has no leverage to work with. He can't say he's gonna go back to his old team. Second, like your old team's saying this about you, you must be really bad. I ain't gonna pay you the bag. Like I'm not even gonna give you close to half the bag. So like you basically made this guy's life living hell. He's probably gonna have to play on a 1 year to 2 year or a 1 year and a second year, team option kind of deal.
1+1.
So he can have a chance, prove it to me kind of contract. I mean, you're basically forcing him to go that kind of route. But then you also got to look at it like I told you guys earlier, like when your side hoe to your side hoe start trying to act too much, you got to put her in her place. You know what I mean? So
I guess I don't know about that.
don't be calling me.
Yo, don't be calling me when I'm with my family. Yo, you're wild. Yeah, minus that part, I would say, yeah, I'm kind of with you though. Like, it's definitely scummy. It's like, yeah, like to use your analogy about relationships, it's like dude has been in a relationship. He's married, 10 years in the game. This man got another family on the other side of town. You a scummy individual, crummy. And how you gonna do that to me when all you needed to do, literally all you needed to do was just let me walk. I didn't do nothing to you but hoop and make a name for myself. And now I feel like even more what we were talking about, I think 2 episodes ago is like, episode ago, is that
Yeah, man.
he's just making a name for himself because it seemed like he kind of knew the writing on the wall somehow that they was about to do me dirty. They wasn't going like I don't think he was surprised that they wasn't going to give him the bag. Isn't that the point of having an agent? Everybody can tell him Marnie need an agent. Well, isn't this the point of having an agent? You're supposed to know this. So hopefully he knew something was going on. Maybe not like out the building, leave your keys, leave your parking pass. But I think he knew
Not the
that it
parking
wasn't.
pass.
Yeah, no, give me the parking pass. That's probably the first thing you need to drop off, actually, sir. You need to give me that
And
with
the key
security.
fob to get in.
Yeah, I'm gonna need both of them with security. Thank you very much. Thank you kindly. So yeah, I mean, like it's crummy because you just could have let him walk. And then if you wanted to, do those private phone calls, those behind the closed doors, this is what the teams are saying about him. Like you could have done that and let one of your talking heads report that, and it would have been fair game. To do that publicly, I don't know what that man did to you for you to do that. That's just not cool, and that's why I'm like, we were talking about Silver, like you kind of like you don't gotta, I guess, necessarily punish them, but it's like you punish players and I guess coaches at the same point if they say anything about the refs. That's kind of crummy to do. Like just off GP, just give them like a $2 fine or something. Just be like, don't do that. You know what I'm saying? Like we're
Yeah,
above that as a league. We don't want that kind of image to come out. Like we're going to do that bad to players that you drafted. You know what I'm saying? This is your product. So what does that say about our league that like we got teams running around here that draft players supposed to be developing them, and then they're gonna come out and be like, oh yeah, well we don't want you at all. Leave your parking pass. Like that's crummy, bro. It's bad juju. Bad juju.
yeah, I agree. Not a good look for the Grizzlies. I feel like, in terms of Dylan Brooks, like he was with you for, I think he gave like 5 or 6 years to the Grizzlies,
Mm-hmm.
and I think he played his heart out, played as well as he could. In the times that Jaw and even Desmond Bain have been out, I mean, Dylan Brooks has put up numbers. You've consistently asked the man to guard the other team's best player for many of seasons now, and this is what you reward him with. I mean, you weren't going to give him the bag, obviously. I think everyone could have reported that, right? But
Yeah.
to just not even a week after you lose, you're going to bring the man into your office and you're going to tell him, hey, we're just not going to bring you back, big fella. And don't ask to come back for free.
Don't ask. Don't you dare say anything.
And don't ask to come back for free. So come on, man. I mean, it's a bad look for the Grizz. I mean, this is how you treat one of the players that you drafted, you developed, and you asked to do so much for. This is how you treat them. How's that going to look for, any incoming free agents? Because they have money to spend. How's this going to look for them if, that's how you treated Dylan Brooks? How are you going to treat me after my 1+1 is up? Like
Right.
I think it's just a bad move for both sides, and obviously this hurts Brooks's bag. Even though he played, I mean, for the most part, he played pretty well this season. I mean, he's a defensive guy. The,
Yes.
the the three and the 3-and-D might not be there all the time, but at least you can count on him to disrupt the other team's best offensive
Yeah.
players. So
He's going to make it interesting. And correction, he technically got drafted by the Trailblazers. In a series of events, he was ended up traded to the Houston Rockets. It's a
oh
lot because
man.
he was like one of those future, like how they stash players. I don't really get what they do.
So they traded for his rights or something like that way
Yeah,
back
and
when.
way back when, and then they ended up trading him again to the Grizzlies, and that was that for DeAnthony Melton.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
so then that's how that worked.
yeah. So I mean, either way, they pay a lot of time and money into the kid, and
A lot.
this is how you went about it. So, I mean, I feel for him, even though all his
Shame.
all his crap talking, but we'll see how his future, what his future holds for him this offseason.
For sure.
Moving,
Keep your head up.
keep your head up, bro. Moving along, still got some more NBA news. This just dropped this evening, so breaking news: Coach Budenholzer of the Milwaukee Bucks, he is relieved of his job
Told you.
after not too long ago. I think we're 2 or 3 years removed from him winning the chip
Last season,
against
last season.
Mhm.
the Phoenix Suns. That was like right after the bubble, right? So
Mhm.
a couple years removed from winning the championship, bringing the first trophy back to Milwaukee since what? Kareem and Oscar.
Yeah, 1968-69 season.
So almost 60 years, right? Almost
But
60 years, and a couple years later, he's relieved of his duties. How do we feel about that, fellas? So start with Tevin.
man, we was talking about this, and I told y'all I was like, I don't know, it's not looking good for Coach Bud. It's not because the NBA it is such a fine amount of time when you have a superstar like Giannis is a bona fide superstar, Hall of Famer, and it's like you can't mess around when you got that. When you got that, you gotta do something with it. And he did. In his credit, I had the 1 seed, but because you lost to Miami, I feel like they was just like, come on, like
Enough is enough.
and it like, come on, bro. And then last season we got bounced, and it's like we just can't. We're going in the wrong direction. And when you start doing that in basketball, because it's not like football, where maybe you could just swap in one piece and there could be something there. Swap in two pieces, there could be something there. In basketball, a lot of chemistry goes into this, and a lot of camaraderie, a lot of time spent, 82 games, like flying here, there, and everywhere. You need to be able to rely on your starting five, one or two, probably actually three of your dudes on the bench. And you need to be able to know that your coach is going to put you on the best positions every night to win. And if you're not doing that, especially for lesser teams, when you are the 1 seed, when you've proven like this team too, this isn't some fly by night team. Like you knew who the Miami Heat were. If they bounced you out of the playoffs before, you knew what fight you was getting into. And Giannis is the best player in the series, and you don't win that series. I'm sorry, bro. I know you got a lot going on. Hey, look, what's his name? Isaiah Thomas had to go out there. His sister died, so ain't no excuses in this league. You either perform or you gotta go home. You gotta go home. He'll find a job probably. He's a coach won his ring. No shade for that. And you've dealt with an MVP player, and he hasn't bumped into you, slapped you, done none of that. So I think Giannis is going to be like, oh, Coach Bud. I wish he had stayed, and then they're gonna find somebody else. This is what
Yeah.
happens. So I'm sorry for him, but yeah, like you gotta go.
Love, how you feel?
I mean, I get it. Um, he hasn't done enough. Just because you win a title doesn't mean you get to stay somewhere. Um, and I don't feel bad for him. He'll get another team real quick. Someone's gonna pick him up.
Yeah.
I mean, and it's also hard to feel bad for him a little bit on a different standpoint. Like, man's got money. He can take a year off. He ain't gonna be hurting. He already got paid, so I mean, he's fine. Um, Whoever comes in is gonna, like we discussed a couple episodes, or what was it last episode we were talking about the Bucks? They're
Yeah.
gonna run into a big problem with the fact that what the heck are you gonna do with this team? I mean, you got a lot of players maybe going in, maybe coming out.
Yeah.
Don't have any money to pay anyone, even if they don't come in and don't come out. Like, there's a big question mark on this team about moving in the future. I mean, yeah, you have Giannis, but it's cool to have one guy, but one guy can't do it all. You can bring back Middleton, but you don't know what you're getting with Middleton anymore because the man can't stay healthy. Drew Holiday's a nice piece, but sometimes you're asking. Sometimes you just want Drew to score a little bit more points for you, and sometimes he just doesn't. He's a very good defensive player and pretty good all around, but sometimes you're just like, come on, Drew, give me 25 points. And sometimes you're just like, he just can't get 25 points. This is not really what he goes out to do. He's trying to get his other guys involved. He's going to play more defensively, going to take down the best guy on the other team.
Yeah.
So I think it's interesting because whoever comes in to take the team over, they're gonna want to put their stamp and their identity on it. But when they're trying to put their stamp and identity on it, what are you going to change about it? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think I want to say last episode I gave it a 50-50 chance that he would stay.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate the circumstances. His brother passed away, and that's that's unfortunate, very sad, and condolences, and prayers off to him. But I mean, it's just like any other job, right? If we were working for Target, are they gonna wait to fire us because our parents or somebody close to us died? I don't think so. So it's just like any other
They probably
job.
set the order. No offense.
Yeah, so I mean, in terms of business, I understand, right? You're not going to delay something that they already made their mind up about. But I mean, I think the writing was on the wall. Coach Bud has made some very questionable decisions as a coach the past couple seasons, and if we're being honest, I don't think he wins that championship if Monty Williams wasn't making equally questionable decisions in that
Right.
finals,
And
like
DeAndre Ayton.
you know, being the only team ever to not build that wall. And look what it got them. They lost 4 games in a row when they were up 2-0 against the Bucks. So just saying, I feel like, you know, he would have lost that finals if Monty wasn't being, doing the things he was doing. But
Changes the whole series of events.
yeah, so he's definitely a winning coach. He has the pedigree. Like Lawrence said, he's going to have a job soon. I would probably see him, kind of like doing like a Snyder, where he kind of, stayed out the game for a little bit and come back after a couple months, kind of collect his head, his thoughts, and really figure out where he wants to go next. But like Lawrence is kind of saying, you probably should get someone in there soon because you have a lot of big decisions to make this offseason as far as personnel. Who do you pay? Who do you want to pay? Uh, with the assets you got, who do we kind of want to trade for? Because you really don't have the money to pay people, so you kind of have to, go to the trade market and try to bring in some new guys if you want to. So it'll be interesting to see what the Bucks do with this vacancy on their coaching staff.
It might be
Moving,
time to move on to Giannis, bro.
let's
Whoa.
not even.
It might be. I mean, if
let's.
you look at it, look, the
Whoa.
writing's on the wall, right? You got your head coach is gone. If the team is headed in this dire situation, Milwaukee does not have the money to keep up. They don't have the location to keep up. So what are you going to do? And Giannis ain't going to keep losing. Just saying.
That's food for thought for another day, right there.
Keep eating.
Moving along, fellas, we got some MLB news to go about. Mr. Otani. He is the first player to record 500 strikeouts and 500 hits. Lawrence, how do we feel about Otani? And I mean, just his performance overall. I mean, even last night he had 10 strikeouts, which was just incredible.
500 strikeouts and 500 home runs. No, I'm sorry, 500 hits, 500 strikeouts. Only person to do it since Babe Ruth. It's only two people to do it. So I think they said it's the second time he's in a class of his own with Babe Ruth. In terms of Otani, I mean, it's kind of hard to understand. It's kind of hard to fathom how a team like the Angels can be so bad with such good talent. Like they're just not good, and it's kind of hard to point out why. Like you have Mike Trout. He's not even being bad this year. Their starting pitchers aren't horrible. I mean, they have Otani. Outside of him, their starting pitchers are pretty well endowed. Like they're pretty well. It's their closing. They have horrible closers, and it's kind of like towards the end of the lineup, like the bats just fall off really hard. Like in the 7th, 8th, and 9th spot, like the bats just fall off hard. But I mean, it shouldn't matter, because like in some teams, all it takes is 2 or 3 guys to win you multiple games a year, or get you to the playoffs at least. I mean, the Angels aren't even in the hardest division in baseball. I mean, the strongest team in that division right now is the Rangers, and the Rangers were a team coming into the season when we were saying, well, they're a few pieces away. We don't see them getting very far. Well, right now they're leading the division. No one else is even really that close. The only other team kind of nearby is the Mariners, which if you're the Angels, you need to be doing anything right now to try to, step up on the Mariners, because they brought in a couple pieces to try to, help out that lineup, and they still don't have to pay anyone yet. The Mariners are playing on cheap money. They had the home run hitting king last year, the home run champion, home run derby champion. He made more money in the home run derby than he did the whole entire season. So, I mean, you got to understand that, like, there's other teams in that division that are moving forward, and you also have to think about it, like, are you going to make it somewhere this season or are you not? Because Otani's going to want all the money in the world, and that's fine. He needs to get all the money in the world doing what he's doing. Problem with that, the Angels aren't going to be able to afford it, and do you want to get something out of him now or get nothing for it? If you can't make it to the playoffs, then trade him now. So, I mean, it's incredible what he's doing, though. That's all I'll put it at. That's incredible. And there's nothing like him.
Man, I mean, you said it all, for real, for real. Like, yeah, you're second in the West. And are you going to pull it out? With having a dude who has such, like, a historic season already to this point, I mean, what are you going to do, bro? Like you said, like I just told you about Giannis. Like, either are you going to do something, or is it time to move on? And like you said, if he wants the bag, you you gonna pay it or no? And he should want the bag, but at the end of the day, like in baseball, especially, like, you're going to need guys at mostly every position. It's a star driven league at this point in where we're at. So Otani, it's a testament to his hard work. Congrats to him. But can the team? It's a good individual, like, historic moment. It writes his name in history. He'll get his bag. Now, what are we going to be able to do? Because now this is probably, for the Angels, their best asset right now. Can you move it and get something and be able to compete, or do you sit pat, let him keep doing what he's doing, and see where we can go? But if you're not trying to get a championship, then what are you doing? That's where I'm at with it. But shout out to Otani, man. Keep balling.
Yeah, I agree. He's just been incredible. I mean, you can look back at the World Baseball Classic, right? Him going against his teammate Trout in that America versus Japan game, and the man's just incredible from a pitching standpoint and from hitting, right? He has all the power in the world when it comes to hitting, and he can strike out, amongst the best hitters in the MLB. So, really good talent. The Angels are kind of wasting his years, as Lawrence has said. And I mean, pretty much any sport, historically, if you have two of the top players in your league, you should be able to, at least contend. And it looks like right now the Angels aren't even close to contending, right? So it'll be interesting to see, especially in a league like baseball where there's no salary cap. And if you're a team who's, struggling money wise, it's going to be hard to retain your best player, right? Because he's just going to go to a team who has the bag, who's willing to pay him the bag. And at this point, what team is going to refuse to pay this man a huge sum of money, right? So it'll be interesting to see. Will they go the route like the Nationals did, and how they traded Soto and got a bunch back, got back a bunch of pieces and try to build in the future, or will they somehow try to couple up enough, pennies and nickels and dimes here and there to pay this man and keep him and Trout together, and
Grandma, let me hold that 10.
and,
You see this man pitch? Yeah, let me get that 10, Grandma.
and make a run at the bank and take out a big loan and try to sign this guy, because these type of talents in any sport, regardless of baseball, football, whatever, they don't come around too often. So
What's
you
his
gotta
number?
his numbers. So it's probably, well, Soto got a bag and he denied a bag from the Nationals. So whatever his number is, you probably got to pay like another, what, 5 million
So
annually,
the
probably,
so
at
the
least.
reason why Soto denied the bag from the Nationals is because they were trying to pay him at the end of it. So they were trying to pay. They didn't want to pay now. They wanted to pay later on,
Later.
and they wanted to extend out his contract after he would have retired, which is what a lot of teams in baseball are trying to do.
They're trying to do.
Yeah, it's very
And
commonplace.
he wants the bag now. He's like, no, dude,
Now,
pay me now. I mean, fair. You deserve to get paid now.
Yeah, because that's
So,
funny money. Like I don't know what you about to do with that. Yeah,
yeah.
like
or you can just
is it
cut me and I don't get the
501?
full thing.
Right. So is it 501? Is it 5? Is it even 5?
What, half a billy? He's probably half a billy, but it's gonna be over. At least It's probably gonna be a 10-year contract over half a bill. I think. What do you think, Lawrence?
Man, I played the wrong sport.
Mm. It's gonna be over half a bill. I mean, they paid Mike
Yeah.
Trout like $375 million, and that was like 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And
What did they?
now,
Didn't they give Strasburg a big contract too? Like, what was his? His was crazy too, right?
yeah, I mean, they're getting close now to half a bill, and they're getting real close. So,
Yeah.
but most of those contracts are like 7, 8 years long. So
At least you never. I mean, it's rare that you see a big contract and it's only like 4 or 5 years in baseball.
yeah, it's just how baseball does it.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what kind of bag he gets. Moving along, speaking of bags, we have a big bag that multiple people are trying to drop for a certain NHL team. The Ottawa Senators are currently up for sale in the NHL, and we have a lot of bidders going on right now in the bidding process. Two of our notable biddings are from Snoop Dogg and from a group that includes Ryan Reynolds. Guys, how do we feel about, our favorite Onk trying to be part of the first black ownership in the NHL? And how do we feel about our favorite, actor? Might be some of our favorite actors trying to, face off in this bidding war.
So to be clear, so Snoop is trying to buy it himself, and Ryan Reynolds and his group is trying to buy it themselves. Correct?
Yeah, so Snoop is part of an ownership group that's headlined by, I forget the guy's name, but he's like trying to be the first like black owner. I think
Oh,
Snoop is just like a small percentage, but I think Ryan Reynolds is gonna be, I don't know the specifics, but I'm pretty sure he's gonna be like majority owner.
okay. So I mean, it's interesting to talk about because I mean, NHL, do they have this much attention to any given team at any given moment? It's
Yeah.
exciting for the league for somebody to want to put this kind of bag in and have a bidding war at that. That's pretty interesting. If Snoop, if you want to do that, man, go ahead and do that. Put the bag up. This is what rap, sing, dance. This is what everybody do this for, right? So you can end up actually becoming a boss and cutting other people's checks. So, hey, more power to them. I like it. It makes, like I said, it makes the stuff interesting. Where is the team located?
Ottawa. It's
Ottawa,
in
Canada.
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 Yeah.
So Ryan Reynolds, I mean, he is from Canada.
He
So
is
Yeah.
from Canada.
he
He's
is from
Canadian.
Canada. So I mean, he might be like, "Hey, mate, throw that joke." Throw that joke. But at the end of it, like I said, like whatever, it's exciting for the league. So whatever's exciting for the league, whatever they do, it's not a wrong decision. So shout out.
I think, in my opinion, the smartest move for Snoop is to jump on board with Reynolds.
Mm.
Just purely because Reynolds is from Canada. He has ties to enjoying hockey. Um, and now you're gonna have to look at the fact that, like, if you look at what he's done with Wrexham over in England, he's
Yeah.
turned that franchise around. He literally he gives them anything and everything they want. Like, their facilities were horrible. He's improved their facilities. Ottawa's had one of the worst ownerships under Eugene. I can't say his last name. I'm not even going to try it. Under Eugene for the longest time ever. He was a horrible owner. He tried to move the stadium and all this other stuff, all because it wasn't close enough to the metro or whatever. Okay, but like he was a horrible owner. What a horrible man at that point. So Ottawa needs they're a good team. They just barely missed the playoffs this year. They're a good team who's like on the cusp. They just need someone to come in there and give them a little love, a little compassion. I think Ryan Reynolds is probably better suited for that.
Yeah.
Just because like the turnaround he's done on Wrexham. I mean, the team is the 10th or I think it's the 10th oldest team in England. and it was the bottom league of England Premier League. So it's like in League 5. He's got him all the way up to League 3 now. So that's League 1, I guess you call it over there. So he's doing a great job. Given he is paying players more than other teams in that league that he was playing in pay their players, but he shouldn't be faulted for that. I mean, yeah, he has a bigger bag than other guys in the conference, or what we want to call it, conference, the league, so he can pay him more money. He can go out and get better players, and yeah, he can move up quick, but no one's batting an eye when the Saudis do it in the Premier League. So,
Hey, be careful when talking about them Saudis.
Yeah.
so I don't understand why we're going to be given a hard time when Ryan Reynolds is putting in actor money with, his friend Rob. So, I want to say Mac from Always Sunny. So, I mean, I think your better bet is to just join on the train of Ryan Reynolds. I mean, he's Canadian. The fan base is probably going to want to have the Canadian more so. Not to be rude or anything, but like someone from the DMV who's trying to buy the Commanders, and there's another guy who's trying to buy the Commanders. I'm going to root for the guy from the DMV. It's that simple.
Makes sense. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for it. I feel like Snoop would be a good representation for the NHL, especially for just like black people in general. I feel like we need to see more black ownership in all the major sports leagues, right? So if he can get a chance to join his partner Nico Sparks and trying to buy the Senators, I feel like it'll be a great first start, right? And for $1 billion for like an NHL team, that just tells you how much these, and this is a bigger conversation, but how much professional sports teams are worth, not only to just America, but like Canadian, like the Canadians, like this is huge for them too, right? Like you about to get $1 billion for a sports team. I feel like that's huge.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I would be down for either team or either ownership group to close the deal. Ryan Reynolds, great actor, great investor. He has his own like vodka. He has the team in England, like Lawrence has been talking about. He was I think he was like a part owner of was it, like Mint Mobile or something, and it just got bought out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he didn't even do
His
much with
commercials been
it.
everywhere.
All he did was like commercials, and like
That's it.
automatically the value like boosted through the roof, and he just made a bag off of that. So the guy knows what he's doing. He's full of cash, so he definitely can pump cash into the Senators and hopefully help them in their future playoff contentions. But I'd be down for either one. But I'm definitely rooting for Snoop because I think we need some more black ownership, and for the NHL who currently has.
So if Snoop becomes the owner, is he going to go after the most popular black player in hockey?
I don't know, but we'll definitely see. I feel like you would definitely see. You would definitely see like automatically like a lot of black kids in America would automatically, and even Canada, they would want like, oh, Snoop owns an NHL team. Let me go play hockey. I'm gonna try to go play for Uncle Snoop.
It's like
you know what I'm
Drake
saying?
with the Raptors. Like, come on.
Yeah. And there's 34 players right now currently in the NHL that are black or African American. So I think Snoop would only increase that probably like tenfold if he becomes the owner. So
Well, if he becomes the owner, he better bring in Evander Kane. That's all I'm saying. The man's had a rough career. Okay, he's been playing with the San Jose Sharks. Now he's at the Edmonton Oilers. Like, man needs a good team to go to. He's already in Canada right now.
You better bring in that good team pack. I know that much.
Yeah, for sure. Is it? I'm pretty sure it's legal too, right? In Canada, right?
I think they could even grow too. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. Snoop about the yeah. Oh yeah.
He know what he do.
Snoop is a mastermind for sure. Well, all right, fellas, that is the end of our rapid fire for today's episode. Great talk, great discussion this episode. How do we guys have any last remarks, any last things we want to get off our chest before we close out tonight?
Rest in peace to Wayne Haskins, bro. They shouldn't have done him like that. That's all I'm
gonna
say.
Yeah, R.I.P.
The juice is looking really good on the Florida Panthers to win the NHL Stanley Cup. Just saying, they're beating the crap out of the Toronto Maple Leafs. Maple Leafs are just doomed in the playoffs. They don't know how to win. They just constantly fail. So you can guarantee they're going to fail again. Then the next round they're going to play the Carolina Hurricanes probably. They can't play on the road, so it's looking like a pretty good chance for the Florida Panthers in the Stanley Cup. So the juice might be worth the squeeze. Take it to the bank window and have a good time.
Oh yeah, and the Suns might get swept.
We'll
So
have
I'm
the
mad.
brooms out next episode.
I'm really mad about that because that was my pick. So y'all sold. I'm mad at all of you. Chris Paul corner.
Chris Paul's out for at least 3,
just
4, and
bubble wrap
5.
this man at this point, man.
It's not looking too good for them.
He doesn't care about a chip.
I will say, I think we're going to book up the Lakers to the Western Conference Finals. I think if they win tonight, you can book the trip. So be on the lookout, everyone. I think
down 4 right now.
Hey, they can be down whatever. They got GOAT.
I don't care who it is. Steph Curry, Stephen Curry, Dale Curry. Lakers
don't matter. Lakers in 5.
He said 5. He gave him a gentleman's sweep.
Gentleman's sweep. All right. All right, fellas. Thank you for another great episode of the MTL Sports Podcast. You guys can catch us on Twitter. You guys can catch us on TikTok as well at MTL Sports Podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe to our videos on YouTube. And we will see you later. Peace.